So this is chapter 1, defining and collecting data. So in the framework that we talked about in the GS video, so this is the first two, D and C. So what are we going to cover in this chapter? So the objective is that we're going to learn to understand the issues that arise when defining the variables. Okay, how do you define variables? And how do you collect data? So what are the issues involved in collecting data? Defining and collecting. So to identify different ways to collect a sample. What are the ways in which you can collect a sample, and what are the pitfalls, what are the limitations? So, and then understanding the type of survey error. Survey is a particular method by which we can collect data, and what are the different errors that are possible when you collect data through survey. So these are the topics that we will be covering. Okay, so we start with defining or classifying a variable. So we are defining variable. Okay, so in our scheme DCOVA, this is D. So in this chapter, we'll be most of all the topics that we're going to be covering are either D or C. So we're not going to do organizing, visualizing, and analysis in this chapter. So that will belong to the following chapters. Now, classifying variable by type. So you can classify the variables. Okay, remember, variable is an observation that you make from an individual or a thing. So it is a column in a data set. So a column can be a categorical column or a numerical column. A categorical column, which is also called qualitative variable, it just categorizes that particular row. Okay. It could be, if it is gender, so it could be male or female. Okay. Marital status, so it could be unmarried, married, divorced, widowed, and so on. Okay. So those are categorical variables. Now numerical variables, on the other hand, have numbers in them. But you have to be careful. Sometimes categories can be numbers too. Okay, suppose if you use codes. Okay, 0 means married, 1 means unmarried, 2 means divorced, 3 means whatever. So if you see those numbers, even though they appear as numerical, but actually in essence that variable is a categorical variable. Okay, so you have to be careful not to be deceived with the appearances. So categorical variable means that just simply categorizes the observation into one of several categories, whereas numerical variables are always numbers, and the numbers by itself means something. It doesn't mean a category, but it means something. Okay. And there are two ways in which you can have numerical variables: a discrete variable and a continuous variable. Discrete variable is one where the values are determined by counting something. For example, if you have a variable that says how many items did the customer buy, okay, so that would be 0 or 1 or 2 or 3. So and those values mean something. They bought 1 item, or they bought 2 items, they bought 3 items. Okay, but you're counting to arrive at the value of that particular observation. Okay. Or if it is a continuous variable, then that value is arrived at by measuring the process. Like for example, how long did the customer spend at a particular website? Okay. You don't count that, but you measure the time elapsed from arriving at the site and leaving the site. So time or temperature. Temperature is, again, you measure temperature, as opposed to, for example, if you want to say how many days did it rain in a month. Okay, so that will be 0, 1, 2 or 3. That would be a discrete variable where you're counting to arrive at the value, as opposed to, suppose if you say how many inches of rain did we get in a given month, then that would be measuring. That's not counting. That would be continuous variable. So you have to keep in mind categorical variable and then numerical variable. Numerical variables are always numbers, and it can be discrete or continuous. Categorical can be labels like yes, no, or blue, brown, green, or it could be numbers but representing a category. Okay. And even in that, there are two types of categorical variables. There is nominal and ordinal. Okay, nominal would be one where there is no hierarchy among the categories like yes and no or blue, brown, and green. There are no hierarchy in that. As opposed to, suppose if there is a categorical variable that says what grade a person received in a course, A, B, C, D, or F. And here, even though those A through D and F are categories, there is an implicit hierarchy in those categories. A is better than B, B is better than C, and so on. So when you have hierarchy within those categories, that is called ordinal. Nominal would be when there are no hierarchy within those categories. So here is an example. Okay, do you have a Facebook profile? So that's yes or no response. So that means it is a qualitative variable, categorical. Two categories there. Now, how many text messages have you sent in the past 3 days? So that will be discrete, numerical. So 0 or 1, 2, 3, and so on. Now, how long did the mobile app update take to download? So here we are talking about time, and you're not counting this, you're measuring, so it is a continuous variable. So here is a summary of what we discussed so far. So categorical variables, numerical variables. Numerical variables, there are two possibilities, discrete and continuous. Actually, there are two possibilities in categorical variable also, as I mentioned, ordinal or nominal.